Hey there, Kenneth French of Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. We're very, very happy you stopped by. Either you're going to watch this or listen to this because you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably an entrepreneur who's either just starting out or you've been around for quite a while and you want to take your business to the next level. You're probably a real estate investor, maybe even a real estate agent, maybe a professional or of some sort, professional advisor of some sort. And well, you are stopping by because you need some valuable advice from one of the top industry leaders there is. Anyway, thank you very much. Once again, Kenneth French, Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Really glad you stopped by. Today's special guest, Brad Holcman. You know what we're going to call him? We're going to call him the media guy. Hey, Brad.
Yeah. Thank you. It's such an honor, and I'm so grateful to be here with you.
So many things to talk about. Obviously, we met a while back at this group called the Family Mastermind, which a lot of people probably might know of. It's basically a mastermind of real estate oriented people. And you kind of came in with a unique situation. I think at the time you were working with A&E, I think where you were for 12 years. But the bigger thing is for you, you've been doing content, media, real estate. I think you might be even getting into the real estate world. I'm going to leave this as a wide open conversation. We're chatting for a half an hour and let's just go. Brad, tell us a little bit about yourself and let's have some fun here.
My name is Brad Holcman. I'm 5'0". No. I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina, by way of New York, by way of LA, but I'm born and raised in Detroit. So shout out to all my Detroit people. My Midwest heart is where it's at, which has led me to Charlotte. But really what I've been doing, have a beautiful family, beautiful wife and 2 kids who are my everything. But really what I've been doing for 20 years is basically doing what every industry really wants, is how to connect to your audience in a way through story. And I've been doing that through 20 years. Some of the biggest shows that I've been involved with are Duck Dynasty, 60 Days In, Beauty and the Geek, Homeland before, Sons of Anarchy. And most recently, I took over all the home shows on A&E, Zombie House Flipping with our friends, and 50-50 Flip and Triple Digit Flip with our boys, Pace Morby and Jamil Damji. And because of that, I've been very blessed and grateful to be entered into this world of entrepreneurship, forward thinking, and really people that are helping everyday people solve problems or them helping solve problems. And it's taken on a new life. But at the core of what I do and what I love doing is how can we create story that really connects with your audience, whatever audience is. For me, it was the television audience. It was a mass audience. It was a broad millions of people I had to connect through a box. And what I'm excited to do now is how can I use those skills and basically for anybody out there, how to use content and story to really bring your audience in. And something that I've done every day for 20 years, a dozen times a day. All I do is hear story. All I do is create story. And I'm excited now in this new life that I'm living to help really everybody in addition to the television industry accomplish that.
Being a W-2 and now you're a newly minted entrepreneur. Really make that jump. I mean, there's more to it than what you've already said, but what really made you make that jump?
I really looked at my future and I am so blessed and grateful to have all the experience. I loved it. I really did. I really loved having the paycheck every other week. I really loved working. I did. It was great. But because now you're really a function of the 5 people around. It's the cheesy line, your network is your net worth. Because I had chosen to be around some different people and more interesting people, the life of the entrepreneurs that I'm around, whether it be in Family Mastermind or otherwise, mostly real estate investors, the people who solve the most problems make the most amount of money. And even before that are the happiest. They're the happiest. You're doing good. And when you do good, you do well. And that is something that excites me. So I had 20 years of training to get to this point. And it was really a point where you're limited somewhat by a corporation over your head. I was very happy that I had an amazing corporation over my head. Now there's 99.9% of industries out there that haven't benefited from the 20 plus years of my experience, which I'm excited to help, whether it be being an investor or helping create content and understanding how others can really create content that can help service their own world customers or whatever they want to be doing. It could be a personal brand. It could be anything. But I've done that on the biggest stage. I have lots of stories within the world of television that are awesome and exciting and had the best job on this planet. And now I'm ready to kind of do it on my own.
You know, your market's bigger, broader, et cetera. So how can you help, let's say, an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or maybe an entrepreneur, 10 or less employees? What can you do? What can Brad do to help those people?
I think for one, I am not that person, today. Well, what I am, I will be tomorrow. But what I take a look at it from a different angle, for me was always, how can you get more people to watch and connect with you? That's all I did. If I make a great piece of content, or if I'm as a human have a great program or product or anything, but nobody buys it, it's like, did the tree fall in the forest? It really didn't. So how do you kind of start with the end in mind? That's all we did. How do you start with the end in mind? So what customer, what person are you creating a show for? What in this genre is the perfect avatar of person? And then you create with those pieces of the puzzle so that you can back into the products. And then even when the product, what we do is we test and we test and we test before we go to market. We develop. We have open and honest conversations. We bring people in from other industries. I bring in my wife, who hasn't spent a day in television. I would have her watch my content just so I'm getting feedback before we really start spending the money, which is series. And our series were millions and millions of dollars. So if we failed, each business I had, each show I had was multi-million dollars. Wouldn't be good if it failed. So what can you do to prep for that? And then it's once you're in production, once you're doing all these things, once you've got that product, once you've got the avatar of customer, you've got to keep testing. You've got to keep receiving feedback. You've got to keep asking for response, and you've got to keep perfecting. What I usually look at, with all this world is, in the television world, you have multiple seasons. Your season 1 is to figure it out. Your season 2 is to perfect. Your season 3, hopefully you're going on to another 10 seasons. But it's really the first season that you still have to look at it from a prototype phase, because you can really you can get all the data you want, but the best data that you receive is once you have a product out there, the feedback you get from your audience. So for me, again, it's the same cycle that we have in purely creative and also a little bit from a business angle. So how can I help an individual be super focused, super clear with what they want? If you are broad or not, it's not going to happen. You've got to be specific. You've got to be, the great thing about television is there's 300 plus million Americans. I needed such a small, tiny fraction of that watching my show. So if I am speaking to a specific individual, the likelihood of that individual telling another person to come watch the show is greater. And I just need a small slice to watch to be a success. So I don't need everyone. I don't need to be the biggest show on the planet. What I need to be is the right show for the right person that I'm aiming for. And I believe that I can do that with solopreneurs, entrepreneurs of all sorts, whether it be a corporation just starting out and everything in between.
You have a lot of stuff you can do to add value to an entrepreneur, and yourself, obviously starting this journey as well. I'm going to ask I'm going to digress a little bit. Yeah. So what other things you're thinking about doing? It sounds like you're looking at real estate. I mean, for you, not really for clients. So kind of your journey, like what you kind of foresee down the future for yourself.
I'll go with kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum, because there's a middle part that we're developing, and a little bit of that is how can I convert my 20 plus years into the private sector and all the industries. So that's the middle.
Totally.
The opposite sides are, I'm still in television very much. And what the benefit I have is when you work for one brand, you're really just looking through that very tiny tunnel of that brand. And if it's right for everybody else, in the television world, you kind of just don't share the love. You don't. It's what the industry is. It's not bad. It's not good. It's neither. It's just how it is. Now, not being associated with a particular brand, what I can do is I can look at something very objectively and look at the entire industry and say that Bob is right for that genre of show, for that network or that platform. So for me in TV, I'm going to be very much of service. And what I'm looking for is great talent, great people that are doing distinct and different things in whatever they do. So very simple example is, let's say you flip houses. Okay. Let's just say there's a few shows like that on television. If you flip, what I'm looking at is quantity of flips. I'm not really looking for the beginner. Don't need to be advanced, but I'm looking for somebody to do the thing. I'm also looking.
Hold on, touching question. Are you saying if, let's say, some of our clients or some of the people who are watchers and listeners of this, if they're doing flipping, they potentially, we're doing mass, I don't know, they potentially would be someone you'd want to hear from? Is that what you're saying?
100%. 100%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you don't know this I mean, you know the person, but you don't know who I'm referencing by saying this. But I am always looking at people at have an opportunity or want an opportunity to be on television. And what I bring to the table is I kind of can look at you and know you and talk to you and go, here's why you would be good. Here's why that you may be challenged. Has nothing to do with look. It all has to do with so many different elements. There's probably about 17 different elements of what makes a great television show. I think that's what we've reduced it down to. So if you're the prettiest person on the planet, that doesn't make you a television show. If you're the ugliest person on the planet, it doesn't prevent you from being on the television. It's all the things. So what I do is I spend a day with you or a day and a half with you. If you can answer the question, there's 10 people that flip houses in my market. I'm the one that people come to because ... So if you're doing something distinct and different, so here, for example, my beautiful friends, Dedrick and Crystal Polite, they're out of North Carolina. I have a show with them. It's called 50-50 Flip. Why are they unique and distinct? Well, they are from the area. Crystal is from the area that she's flipping in. She wants to bring people back into the community. She buys low and sells low. So her margins may not be as big as others, but she's really wanting to bring the community in. She really cares for the community. And they also have a philosophy where they spend under $50,000 and flip under 50 days because they know the margins are going to be good. So all of that was there before I even started. So what makes them a great television show is that's why they're unique and distinct in their market. Then all of the other things come into play. Can they speak on television? Do they have a dynamic, a husband-wife? Always a good dynamic. Do they have two beautiful kids? Even better. So we start adding. On one side of my next is I want to identify those people who are, it doesn't have to be real estate. It could be literally anything and everything that always thought, my world's pretty interesting. I could be on a television show. Great. I'm your guy now. You have somebody that you can come to that is straddling the worlds of entrepreneurship, straddling the worlds of real estate specifically, and then also has been playing in television for 20 years. I have every relationship with every production company and network and cable channel and streamer and all of the things. They're all my friends. I grew up in the business with them. I can be your conduit to being from idea, and maybe there's a television show in my world or what I do, or know somebody to getting on air. Or if it's not that, going back to how can you create content? How can you create story to then best connect with your customer? Or there's other ways to create content for your own use. It's not just has to be this television platform or streamer. There's a lot of different avenues. YouTube is where I find talent. I find talent on YouTube. So why not create your own brand on YouTube? One, because it's great marketing and there's a monetization for you as an individual, but also that's how you develop your skills to be on television, because it's not Instagram, it's not TikTok, it's not 30, 60, 90 seconds, it's 10 minutes, it's 15 minutes. We call it long form. Long form is what television is. So it's much harder to hold an attention span for 10 to 15 minutes than it is 30 seconds using words on screen and quick edits and having actually, my 13-year-old knows how to edit a beautiful video much better than me. But does she know how to edit a YouTube video 10 or 15 minutes? She doesn't yet. That's a skill. That's story.
Pretty cool. Nice work, by the way. You've raised a good daughter.
Yeah. So the other end of the spectrum is when you're around people that are solving the biggest problems on this planet, have the biggest hearts, the biggest go-givers, you can't help but be addicted to that individual and the best addiction possible. So I have been very blessed and grateful to be brought into a lot of these worlds. And frankly, I just want to be them. I want to be them. I want to do what they do because I see what impact they're making. So I am stepping into the real estate investment world. I'm in Charlotte. Thank you. I'm going to start, I believe, and there's lots of shiny objects out there, but because now I don't have a W-2, I have a good network. And frankly, I need to build up my cash reserves, to be real honest. For me, the two ways to approach that is wholesaling and flipping. And for me, it's all about not doing it on my own. So identifying that what do they need so I can help them? Do they need a deal? Do they need hard money? Do they need somebody that's just going to put the time and effort in to learn? What can I provide value so that they can also then provide their value? I'm not looking for a handout. I don't want a handout. What I do want to do is help on what level I can at this point. and gain the expertise from an individual that has really paved the road ahead of me. I believe in mentorship. I believe in investing in yourself and in others. And for me, half of something is far better than 100% of everything. Even if 100% of everything is what that's a lonesome life. I want to be around people. I'm addicted to people. I'm very much an extrovert. I love having conversations. As you can tell, I'm a talker, and there's nothing that makes me happier than sitting down. I'm at all the meetups in Charlotte. I'm at all of, whether it be entrepreneur meetup, it's a real estate meetup, whatever meetup it is. I just love hearing people's story. I also look at talent. I try to look in fact, the meetup I'm going to tonight is somebody that I'm developing a show with, because 9 months ago, I happened to be at this meetup. This person was speaking at this meetup. They were saying something that was distinct and different within the real estate space. And I'm like, you're a television show. What you do is a television show, how you deliver. So I didn't go in with really the hat of being a television executive. I was more of a real estate investor looking to figure out this world, but I always have that hat on and looking. So for me, one of my, to end this conversation, is you never know who's in your audience. So you should always perform at an 11, whatever. If there's 2 people in your audience or 2 million or anything in between, you never know who's watching or listening. And maybe that's me. And I could help you move on or maybe have some of your dreams come true.
Dude, this is huge. I'm hoping at least one of our people out there is going to, heed that. So basically, just to summarize, you're doing your own content, but you're going to help potentially someone get to having their own show, theoretically, if you identify them as a stud or studette.
Yes.
You're doing your own real estate deal. And you all help businesses, solopreneurs, on really providing content that will hopefully attract other bids for that client where they wouldn't have gotten it before. That all sounds about right.
It sounds right. It's much more. Listen, I'm very much about one foot in front of the next. I have a plan in life, but I'm also understanding of today. So that's today. And I just love talking to people and hearing. So please feel free. I'm around. I'm more free than I ever was before, which makes me happy. I will tell you, being available to go to my kids' band concert is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
I totally get that. So that's this. Well, we have maybe 10 more minutes. No, we'll get a hold of you if let's say they want to, engage, number one, or number two, they want you to make Tom Cruise.
I mean, if there's show notes or whatever, I'm happy to give out my cell phone number. It's readily available. I will give it here. It's 917-575-7700. That's my personal number that gets me directly. And my real estate email is probably the best to email me, Brad, BRAD, and it's named, my real estate company is named, or my real estate LLC. It's not a company yet. It will be. I have yet to transact within this LLC. Listen, affirmations, putting it out there. It's C&E. It's my 2 daughters, Charlotte and Eleanor. Homes with an S.com, CNEhomes.com. My Instagram page, which is needs to level up a bit more. There's a story behind it, but it's Brad Need Abs. Yes, it's Brad.
Can you spell that again? Spell that one more time.
BRAD, my name, Needs, 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 Abs, ABS.
Give me a minute. I get it.
There's a story behind it, but that has been my Instagram handle. There's a fitness journey that I continue to be on, and at some point, it's going to go from Brad Needs Abs to Brad Has Abs.
Very nice. I got it. Hopefully, you have that URL. All right. So again, we have give us a tip. For a solopreneur who, let's say they're a real estate agent, because we have 2,000 people who listen to a real estate agent. They're a real estate agent, and they don't do any social media or very limited social media. They don't do any really content. What would you suggest for them? I'm assuming that would be kind of a candidate for you to have as a client.
Yeah. So here's the opportunity. And I'm speaking also from a consumer and a customer. I understand how in life, how do you know what's best? You know what's best generally by referrals. And when those referrals come in, they're either through somebody, well, generally there's somebody that you trust. And those people either have experienced the product or the service itself, or they're Bob, your neighbor, Bob, your friend. the difficulty of all of this is, if I don't work in your industry, how do I create or have people understand in a very quick amount of time how I'm distinct and different? So it's being very clear and concise with your message in one line, why you're so good and different than anybody else. So specifically with real estate agents, there may be a few of them in any given market. And that's a joke because there's a lot of them. So what you need to do first is identify, if you were your own client, what 5 things separate you from everybody else? And this is not putting an ego hat on. This is not saying, it's really being honest with yourself. And if you don't know the 5, we need to roll back. And then you really need to understand your market. So we talk about blue ocean and red ocean, and really being an agent, you're in a red ocean. There's lots of agents competing for the same thing. But why do some agents just do better than others? Could be length of time. It could be there's a hole that they plugged, but really it's probably because of referrals. So why do they refer? Generally, people want to be in business with people they like. People want to be in business with don't want to be in business with they don't like. So you need to first look at that. Then it's not just about content marketing, but it's how are you getting people to understand what makes you distinct and unique. Gary Keller talks about the one thing and being really concise about that one thing. And if you as an agent are really good at one thing and know that your market supports that and you're better than anybody else, how can you be creating all of your marketing materials, all of your socials, which if you're not in social, you definitely need to get into it. What you don't need to do is put your face on a bench or a billboard, driving down a highway. All good, but it's you connect with your phone. You connect with your phone and you connect with your neighbor. So how are you doing that? In my neighborhood, for example, there's only one agent, if you are to sell a house, that you go with. Why? Because that person is a hustler. That person has been proven to do anything and everything for the clients. And that person has targeted our neighborhood of 225 homes as being the expert and knows anything and everything. So you call her up and you say, hey, what's my home worth? How fast can I sell it? They will say, let me come over. They'll be over and they'll give us an answer real quickly. And you know that based on their marketing material and their presence within the community, they're the person to go to. Somebody in our neighborhood did not go with that person. That house is still sitting while 2 other houses went on the market after and sold before. So it's your message, it's your target. It's that one thing that makes you distinct and different. This person really wants to sell these homes inside our neighborhood. There's other neighborhoods, but they're not broad. And they can say, here's how I'm different. I am different because I know every house in this neighborhood. I know the design. I know the builders. I know the history. I know what commands and what doesn't command. And what they've also done behind the scenes is build up their customer base as well. So not only are they trying to get business on the front end, but I also know many times they'll have a buyer even before I have to go. So it's having both ends of that. What this particular person does use is they know their neighborhood too. They know, so they're using both YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. They're not using TikTok. Why? Because the seller within our community is not a TikTok. They know that they're not a TikTok. So they do long form YouTube mostly for their personal brand, but then cut up that YouTube into Instagram and Facebook because most of this community uses Facebook and Instagram. And that's how they get their marketing out. But it's that one sentence, it's that one thing that makes you distinct and different. Most people, they're planting seeds everywhere. And what they're not really understanding is what sprouts. So I'm fine with people going, I'm not exactly sure. Let's plant, but then you have to be prepared for really what sprouts. Many brands, people are like, oh, I like doing this, but the response is nothing. But when you're doing that, the response is huge and they kind of forget, hey, that's the opportunity there. So being an agent, for me, it's about what value, how you're distinct and different, and frankly, how likable you are. The more likable you are, the more somebody is going to refer that person because it's a referral basis. And you can use content that also this individual, anytime there's any event in the neighborhood, she's there. She's there with her family. We know her kids. We know her as a person because, again, you want to be with people you like. You want to understand who they are. You also know that if you transact with her, your commission it's not going towards the latest ladies. It's going because her family is living a better life. And you know that those kids are benefiting from the transaction that you had. So getting to know at least your area and your neighborhood and what people respond to by talking to people and being there and what's important to them, then you can kind of create, that's your starting with the end in mind. Because at the end of the day, if I create the greatest product possible, but nobody has any desire or nor wants it or can understand what it is, which is even worse, then it doesn't matter. So start with the end in mind, start with what people want and how you can service them.
And are you going to be doing the content going forward, or is it kind of up to the client? Or like, I'm wondering about a typical engagement with you. Yeah. I'm looking kind of down the road because I know you're going to be a big hitter. You are a big hitter. So I'm just wondering what would engagement look typically with you?
Yeah. So I'm going to be the architect, so you need the person who creates the design and the plan. I'm not the executor.
Got it.
In fact, I would be too expensive an executor. The beauty of all of what I'm talking about, pretty much every 20-year-old knows how to do like that, and they are looking for any opportunity. So when I know a lot of videographers in the area that are 1099s or just want extra business on the weekend. They'll go shoot an event that people have and put together these beautiful reels on Instagram, long form on YouTube, whatever the client wants. But what they don't have is the understanding of what that plan is, what's the goal of their job. That's where I come in is I'm kind of that intermediary between here's what the client wants or the investor or the realtor or whatever. I've also got the relationships with the executor or I know how to talk to them. I understand their world. So I could connect with what does the client want with then what do the executors do to deliver that? And then I'm in the middle. Most of what my job is basically project manager. It's what I've done for 20 years. And then I hire the best video, the best camera guy. I understand the equipment. I understand all of that. But for me as the day-to-day executor, somebody else will deliver that I will help create the plan. And then also it's not just the plan and you go away, but it's really that constant analyzation of what's working and what's not working, what people are responding to. Do you as a client, do you want that? Do you like that? Is that something fun? And then always in the back of my mind with all of this is there a television show here? Is there something bigger? Is there something even better? And that's the greatest gift that I can offer is I can offer something locally, but really I can also something nationally and internationally. All my shows are on so many different countries as well. And we often hear from the talent is somebody from the UK just reached out to me because an episode aired 9 months later from now. It's really a gift, that we have an opportunity where this content, especially within the home and entrepreneurship world, really speaks to any language. It is universal. It's not something that's just local, and it's people need homes, people need investment opportunities, they need products, no matter where you are. And maybe it's just a note that I'm a fan of yours, but what I'm also looking to do is to convert all of these people for businesses. That's why I like putting people on television. I don't care about your fame. Could care less about your fame. What I care about is, are you getting business? Are you making more money? Are you doing all the things? How am I 10xing, 20xing, 100xing just by being involved with me because I have those opportunities outside of the normal socials that most people are doing.
When you were talking, so I want to go to a consultant, might know a little bit about the execution, but doesn't know about the big picture. Or would I rather go to someone like you who knows the big picture, who's put people on TV screens, for in front of whatever, probably millions. I mean, not to put down this group, by the way, but what I would say is you're almost working backwards. You're working, you're working with huge quote stages, potentially it all the way down to, the micro level. And I would think that's a big thing. That's a big added value element that you have. Plus with all your connections, who knows if some of our listeners and viewers or some of the people out there walking the streets, who knows, those might be the next people that you put on the big screen. You just never know. I think that's a huge deal you have going.
And that's the cherry on top, is that bigger opportunity. But I also, again, anybody that does anything for a long period of time, you should probably listen to. That's what I do. I'm not in it for somebody, oh my God, I just discovered the world's greatest thing last year and now I have a program. That's not somebody that necessarily I will listen versus somebody that's been doing it for 20, 15, 20 years, no matter where it is or how it is. I've just been very grateful and blessed to have this job where it's only been national and international. It's only created content for that. And the excitement that I have is now I get to create it on a local level, something in your own world, that could, and that benefit is much greater. In fact, there's much more of an impact. Now, all of my talent that are on national television shows, there is an impact, no doubt.
No, I'm
Huge
sure.
impact, massive impact, and my friends that I've been able to put on television, they will all tell you, they hit the jackpot, and holy cow, I was the one that helped do that. How awesome is that? But not everybody needs that. What you need is the right audience. I have a friend of mine who just does real estate in Seattle, in the Seattle area. He's fine. He doesn't need to do anything anywhere else outside of his market, but he's the best. He is the best of the best in there. So would he be great on a national television show? Absolutely. But does he need it? Not really. But what he always would need help with is, how can I be even better and more present and distinct and different within my own market? And how can I take, because if you create for millions of people, I really do believe you can create for the right audience in your market of the right person that you're targeting, but also identifying what that is. I think that's the hardest problem, and identifying that. What we say in all of our projects, if somebody can't tell a friend, 5 friends, what the show is in a sentence or less, you got to really figure it out. Because when you look at all the biggest shows on television, it's one sentence, and in that one sentence, it's almost like Jeopardy. If you said the one sentence, you could probably name the show. That's a great television show. So how do you do that within the content world? Well, you got to first identify your strengths, what you're going after, what you want to be doing. And then you have to do the market research. Is that different than anybody else? Because if you say, I want to make pizzas, and everybody knows that pizza guy is Mario's on the corner, that's going to be hard for you to be doing the same message.
Yep.
So again, what makes you distinct and different? How are you going to separate yourselves from the pack? How are people going to go think, I am the fill in the blank. I am the agent of X. I am the investor of S. I'm the best flipper. I'm the best plumber. I'm the best electrician. I'm the best whatever, capital infuser. How are you different than anybody else? And again, I've said this a few times, you got to be likable. You got to be a friend. People want to work with good people. And if you're not a good person, then probably I can't help you. But generally, you're born good, and I can bring the good out. And we make that in the best way possible.
Good guy. And I'm sure you attract good people. I know you do, as a matter of fact. Well, let's get ready to land this plan. I mean, this has been a great time. I mean, I'm excited to watch your journey. I'm excited to watch the journey of the people that you're helping put on the big screen, little screen, or computer screen, telephone screen. I think it's going to be pretty darn exciting. You're going to be a fun guy to watch. So I'm going to ask you to come back. I think down the road, I think it's going to be fun to see your progress. And but if you're living on the streets and it didn't work out, you don't need to come back. But wait, one last time, how does someone get a hold of you?
The best is through my cell, 917-575-7700, or email brad@cnehomes.com. It's Charlotte and Eleanor Homes.com, CNEhomes.com. Those are the two best places. Or on Instagram, Brad Needs Apps.
By the time next time we have a chat, it'll be Brad has huge studly abs at 12pack or whatever.com or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, you can't see it. You can't see it. There's some skin covering it right now, but it's there.
There you go. There. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure. Really, it seriously has. I want you to come on down the road. Once again, this is Kenner French with VastSolutionsGroup.com. We're with Vast Voice, telling business secrets to entrepreneurs. Obviously, this has been a unique and a special interview where we're getting to know Brad, and man, this is going to be fun to watch him. And anyway, for everyone who's watching, listening, etc., thank you very much. It's been a huge pleasure. I know you have a lot of things vying for your time, and you've spent time with us. We really do appreciate it, everybody. Brad, thank you.
Thank you.